I'm Jeannie Ralston. Can you hear me? Is that okay? I would say welcome, but it's you guys who are welcoming me to your city. I'm back. I'm so happy to be back at the same time that the city's coming back, right? Let's give a big cheer for that, because we're gathering here together again. When I say I'm happy to be here, I don't mean just physically on this stage. I mean at this point in my life, newly single, ready to start a new chapter in my favorite city in the world. I moved to New York after college exactly 40 years ago this year. And New York shaped me in so many ways, those 10 years that I spent in New York. And after I left in 92, there's so many times I longed for New York. I longed for the energy here, that feeling of when you walk out your door, you're part of something, that you just look around and you're inspired and your creativity is fired up. So I have friends all over the country, and a lot of them are live streaming right now. They're watching live stream. Hi, everyone. And a few of them came for the event, which is such an honor. But it's great for me to already have a tribe here. And if you're here tonight, that means you already have one too. So. So as you know, NextTribe's motto is age boldly, and I really do believe in that with all my soul, and that's why you saw me jumping off a cliff on the video, or climbing a rock here this is in Ghost Ranch in New Mexico, and there's sometimes I should to me it's aging boldly is living with optimism and without fear. But I think there's sometimes I should have a little more fear, like when I'm riding my bike on the city streets here and I have my earphones in, cranking music. Where's Joyce Wadler? She would tell me, don't do it. Anyway, but I ended up on the pavement. I'm fine, but I learned my lesson. Note to self, never do that again. So, but I think that what makes this, as I said, is living without fear right now, and that we have nothing left to prove. That's how I feel about it. We've already, we've had our careers, we've made our marks, we've had our kids or not. We are perfectly positioned to grab all the juice out of life, and that's what NextTribe is about. So aging boldly means different things to different people, and you will hear, that's why we're here together tonight. You're going to hear what my version of aging boldly is, but everybody you'll have speakers, impressive speakers will talk about what that means to them. We'll also hear from some of you. If you put your little post up on our backdrop, you will tell us what aging boldly means to you. Last time we did this, someone said that aging boldly for her was that she was aging boldly by having sex again for the first time in 16 years. So we went nuts about that. That was great. So we might get some juicy things like that too, right? You never know what you're going to hear at an event like this. But I tell you what, you're going to hear from our first speaker. Our first speaker what you're going to hear from her is just raw power, unvarnished truth, and unrelenting goodwill. Amy Ferris is Amy Ferris is one of my favorite people on the planet, but I know a lot of people on the planet say the same things. She has hordes of Facebook followers because they check in to see what Amy's going to say about issues of the day, about her personal joys and triumphs, or just about acceptance, which is what I learned from her, is acceptance of yourself, of other people, of kind of the messiness of being a human. And I love that about you, Amy. So now I've got to read the official. That was my unofficial love for her. But here's her official biography she's an author, editor, and screenwriter. Her memoir, Marrying George Clooney, Confessions from a Midlife Crisis, was adapted into an off-Broadway play in 2012. And actually, she's selling those books here today, and all the profits go to ERA Coalition. So after this program, make sure you go out and you get one of those and have her sign it, and then you know you're contributing to a good cause. So she's, as a screenwriter, she won recognition for her adaptation of the film Funny Valentines. As an editor, she curated the book Shades of Blue, Writers on Depression, Suicide, and Feeling Blue, and co-edited the anthology Dancing at the Shame Prom. What a title, man, God. She's the director of the Story Summit Writer School, where she inspires a lot of writers, a lot of whom are here tonight. And in 2021, we chose her as one of our Women of the Year. That was an easy choice. With another Woman of the Year who's sitting right here, Sheila Weller. Yeah. She is currently finishing her second memoir, Messy Love, which will be out next year. I love the title. Please welcome Amy Ferris.
I am aging very fucking boldly. Okay, can you hear me? Yes. So I do want to honor two men who are here. Jesse? Yeah? And I got my guy here. So I just thank you for inviting me. Thank you. Okay, so I had to write out what I'm reading. On these shoulders I stand. Lisa. Sandy. Jill. Alexandra, Alessa, Charlene and Catrice and Constance. Susan. Ann Carlucci, who's not here, but she is my forever Shiro. Brooke Warner, who is also not here, but she changed my life. Julie Blacklow, Heather Carreyrou, Joni Kane, and Vera. My glorious Marta Kaufman. Lori Sokol. We name hurricanes after women like you. Elizabeth Hines. Jody and Katie, who are my partners in crime in Santa Fe. Lisa Luca. Now, is Nancy Collins here? Okay, Nancy Toots Collins. Beth Brode, who has been my goddess for years and years and years. I stand on her shoulders. And her daughter, Liberty. Linda Schreier's birthday is today, so I want to wish her a happy, happy birthday. And Alexia, who's also a goddess. Tracy Harris, Kagan, Amanda, Nancy, and Karen Haycox. Sheila Weller, where are you? You are the queen, and thank you for being in my life. And Jessica Keener, who got me here. Jeannie Ralston, whose shoulders hold us all up. Cathie Black, who I have been admiring forever. Thank you. And Maureen. I fell in love with you tonight. We women are made of grit and guts and grace and fortitude. We are made of greatness and beauty. We show up and we shine up and we shine a light on others. We nurture and we nourish. We carry babies and the weight of the world on our shoulders. We are gutsy, glorious women who climb and climb and climb, and we are so lucky to witness and emulate and applaud those who came before us and those who are here with us. And let's not believe for 1 second, and here it comes, not for 1 fucking second, that we will not smash the last glass ceiling. because we will. So let us use this moment to step out and step up and speak up and be noisy and be loud and make a fucking ruckus in this world. Let us step out behind so others can step forward. Let us come out of hiding. Let us smash down the closet door. Let us demand more and better. Let us be the women for other women and other women and other women and other women, so girls and girls and girls can be better and kinder and more. And speaking of shoulders, I stand on. It was 2005. I was in the middle of menopause. And by middle, I mean hell. A fresh hell. There's peri, there's pre, and then there's hello pause. And while I had a string of success, I was really deeply in hell. I mean, serious hell. I was tossing and turning one night, and I happened on a Charlie Rose show that Jane Fonda was on. And she was talking about a new organization. She and a few other dynamic feminists had started an organization, Gloria Steinem, Robin Morgan. Google was really new 17 years ago, and maybe I was like new to Google. And so I Googled the Women's Media Center. And the first thing in the morning I called, and a woman answered, a very familiar voice. And I said in a voice short of desperation, I'm menopausal, and I need to do something, or I'll end up either in the Women's Correctional Center or the Women's Media Center, and I would much prefer the Women's Media Center. And the woman on the phone said, we have much to do. So I threw on some clothes and mascara, and I hopped into a cab, and I went to the Empire State Building, and right there was this woman, Carol Jenkins. She had been a shero of mine before I even knew what the word meant. I had watched her every night on the evening news, and I had loved her joy and her beauty and her courage. As a newscaster, she ranked up there with the very, very, very best. As a woman, there was no one who could beat her. Since they were a startup company, she offered me to answer the phone, sit in on meetings, clean the joint, scrub the toilets. You know, all the things that are needed when money is tight but passion is overflowing. Carol Jenkins became my mentor, or better yet, mentor. She filled me with confidence and curiosity and hope. She encouraged me to create magic, something I had never heard before. She asked us to create magic at the Women's Media Center. We made incredible, incredible lunches, influential lunches and dinners, and we met the most extraordinary women. And those women have gone on to make history. Carol encouraged me to use my voice, something no one had ever said to me before. She said, be loud, smile. She loved when I smiled. And she said that it was really important to be kind. Tonight I get to thank her, right here in person, for all that she has done and continues to do for women and girls. And men, for all you do for humanity. And we are so much better because she is in the world. She is a shero and a warrior and a goddess, and she is the president of the ERA, and it is our responsibility tonight, right here, to support the ERA.
Yes.
To give to make sure that her dream, which was someone else's dream, come to fruition. I love you and I honor you. And I want to also thank my husband who's sitting here, because I tell you what, he is like the coolest fucking guy on the planet. My Ken. I can. I love you, Carol Jenkins. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
What a beautiful story of becoming. That's what you told us how you became who you are. I mean, you were already somebody powerful and amazing beforehand, but through the help of and support of another woman, you became the Amy we all are just wowed by. So I love that with the support of other women, this is what it's all about, support of other women, we can all become what we're supposed to be. And that's really what I love about NextTribe. I love to see this happening. It happened way before NextTribe was around for those two, but it can happen again and again through our interactions tonight and every day. So I have another story of becoming. We all know Tito's vodka, and I know. How was that for a segue? Is that right? Didn't work too hard on that one. Anyway, but I have watched this brand become something because it is our major sponsor. They have been supporting NextTribe since the beginning. And now Tito's vodka is like the biggest selling spirit in the whole country. Better than any, spirit, meaning of any vodka, bourbon, whatever, and especially better than any other vodka, like those Russian vodkas. So I say, take that, Putin. Even though we have beautiful Russian friends over here, we adore. Anyway, but I have, it makes a lot of sense for Tito's to support NextTribe because so many NextTribers, I go to their homes, in their freezer they have a bottle of Tito's, and I'm like, wow, I can't believe it. I see this all the time. Now, what am I doing looking in people's freezers? It's probably says something bad about me, but anyway. But it wasn't always that way. I actually met Tito in 2001 when he was still bootstrapping the company, and he ended up marrying one of my best friends. So I've had a real front row seat to watch that company develop into what it is today, and I'm really proud to be associated with them because they do so much for the arts, for the homeless in Austin, for stray dogs and cats, for stray women like myself. They housed me after my divorce. And they're celebrating their 25th anniversary this year, and I want to raise a toast to them, even though I don't have a glass. I hope you all had some Age Boldly elixir. Raise a glass for 25 years of being the life of the party for Tito's. So, man, Carol, I don't know what I can say after that beautiful tribute by beautiful Amy. It's just amazing that we got you two together and we could see how this developed. But Carol Jenkins is our next speaker, and you already know what a wonderful woman she is, but let's have a little bit about her background. She's the president and CEO of the ERA Coalition, and as we said, a percentage of ticket sales goes to the ERA Coalition. So, and don't you think by now it's time that we got this friggin' thing passed? We need to do this for... It's 2022. It's 2022, and something ain't right if we're going to have this thing passed. So, anyway, Previously, she was the founding president of the Women's Media Center that we heard about, and a national nonprofit organization created to increase coverage and participation of women in media. That's where she met and mentored Amy. Carol was an anchor and correspondent for WNBC TV in New York for nearly 25 years. I remember watching you, Carol, when I was here before and being awed. She hosted Carol Jenkins Live, her own daily talk show on WNYW-TV. She's also an author, the 3-time Emmy-nominated host of Black America on Cooney TV, and she's launching a new project next month, which I think she's going to tell us about, right? Okay, so please welcome Carol Jenkins.
Okay.
I don't know.
Great. We're having some mic difficulties. I promise you that I'm going to be very brief after all of this. It's so funny when people ask me about the ERA, they often say, "Can you just give me the short version?" And I always say, unfortunately, there is no short version, you know. And since I'm a constitutional nerd, I'm not going to go deeply into it. Except that Jean Sweeney, who is one of our best supporters, Jean, where are you? Okay, is in the room. Let's go. That's right, we're gonna go. We are, as Jean says, this close. So the good news is that we have made tremendous progress. The ERA is actually the law of the land. According to Article 5, there are only 2 requirements: passage by Congress in 38 states. We've done that. The only thing we're working on now is that pesky little thing of getting it published in the Constitution. So we need your help with that. So we don't need to pass anything. We don't need to, the only thing we need is for, and Jean and I have both met with the person who was supposed to do this, the archivist, who was the head librarian. If you can imagine that that's his job, the future of America. Equality rests on the head librarian, a guy who was in the middle of a lawsuit and said when we had the meeting, it would be my highest honor to publish the ERA. And we said, please do. This gentleman is about to leave office next week, having not done it. An interim will come in. We need support from the President of the United States to tell whoever sits in that chair to publish the damn thing. So just so you know, we are close. And this started 100 years ago. Alice Paul was the one who wrote it. 50 years ago, it was passed in Congress, and we are still working to get equality. And the only thing it says is you cannot be discriminated against based on your sex. That's it, you know? And this has been a century-long fight. So thank you so much for the gift tonight of Amy's book, and Jeannie, your whole event. We appreciate it because we still have the work to get it published and then the work to implement it. You know, we're working in the states. Every state has to go through its statutes to make sure they're not in violation of that simple statement. You cannot be discriminated against based on your sex. So that's the ERA. And Jane Sweeney, has stickers, and, the first thing she did when we opened our office was come over, give us pins and all of that. So thank you, Jean, and thank you all for your support. The project, as you may know, and Cathie and I were talking about this in terms of, we were laughing about for women over 45, that sort of approach, and we're the ones who are saying way over 45. So we thank you for having us in here. I am turning 78 in November. So that's also a very long story, as you can imagine. So I'm just going to say a couple of things. I started in Lowndes County, Alabama. In 1944. My grandfather was a farmer. He had 15 children. So did my grandmother, by the way. Or most importantly, she had the 15 children. And we call my grandfather, though, the first feminist in our family because he had 9 girls and 6 boys, and he managed to send all 9 girls to college. Which made that farm, which is still in our family, by the way. We're still fighting. You know how families are when anything is, generational. And we get on the Zoom now and fight, with each other about what's going to happen to it. But we still have it. The miracle. All 9 girls went to college, which meant that that family turned into, and because there were 15 of them, I have 45 first cousins, and, generationally. Because of that, the family is loaded, chock-a-block, with successful people. We say it was all the women's doing. The boys stayed and ran the farm. The women educated the children. We've got lawyers, doctors, too many of them. We've got writers. We keep saying, more writers, please, But that was the very first feminist act that determined the future of an entire family in the United States of America. This farm had no indoor plumbing, no electricity. I had no shoes. My children and my cousins as well get very angry when I say this because they have actually seen pictures of me wearing shoes, and they say, you see, you did have a pair of shoes. And I said, 1, and it must have been bought for that very occasion, the picture taking. So in terms of a beginning like that was possible in this country because of a feminist grandfather and all of the women who did all of that work. I do want to say this, that working has got to have fun in it. It's got to be, I recently, because I'm a Constitution nerd, was watching the Benjamin Franklin PBS documentary, and I'm saying to my grandchildren, look, this is the possibility of your life. This man captured electricity in a bottle and then went on to create the first lending library and then to create a country and to write a constitution that has many problems. And as I've said, to them, you can always tell when you're talking about Benjamin Franklin and Thomas Jefferson that your black grandmother in New York City is trying to fix the work that they did, thanks for at least giving us the possibility, of doing it. I started working when I was 8. My family had a printing business, and I was the folding machine. I went off to college, went to work, and worked 25 years in broadcasting. And then after that, thought, well, I guess that's it. And I actually have a license plate that I bought on vacation that says retired, in Spanish, and I pull it out ever so often as I move on and on and on, to new things. What has sustained me through this long life of work? The circles of friends. I have friends that I met when I was 12 years old who are still in my life. In that group is a woman who, when she was going through a divorce, and I was handling or trying to handle my mother's Alzheimer's, we shared a house and got through it until we were able to get back on our feet again. I was fortunate enough to be in a coven with Gloria Steinem, Marilyn French, Esther Broner for 20 plus years, where we shared our lives. They were fabulous teachers. I was part of a walking group of women uptown. Thank you very much, Amy and Ken, for the apartment in Inwood, by the way. They sent me there. Fabulous. Rita Henley Jensen was the founder of Women's E-News. Just tremendous. The beginning of the pandemic, the very first week of it, I started what we called a family Zoom. And we meet every single Sunday, and we've done it for the entire time. There's nobody in my family, by the way, but we call it the family Zoom. But that group of women has been sustaining, and we're all going to meet for the first time in person on Mother's Day. So I do want to say that the work that you do has to be something akin to capturing electricity in a bottle. The sustaining elements are your circles of friends that you keep in your life to get you through those rough spells, because there are many, many, plenty of them. And I think that today I got 2 phone calls. Someone said, we'd love you to join our board. And I said, but, I don't know anything about I'm interested, so send me the information. Sure. And I got an email that said, have we got fun for you? Well, were those the right words, right? Who knows what I'll be doing next. But one of the things that we want you to know about, and we'll send it to Jeannie, is the podcast that Gloria Felt, Sherry Henry, and Betty Spence and I are doing. It's called Lady Liberty is Very Pissed, and so should you be. And the very stands for voting, the E stands for equal rights, and the R stands for reproductive rights, which are the 3 things that must absolutely get done this year. So remember, Lady Liberty is very pissed, and so should you be. We'll send you the information. Thanks so much for having me here today.
Thank you, Carol. Thank you so much. So Carol was talking about fun and friendship as being one of the things that keeps you going, right? That's, keeping fun in your life and friendship. I feel like I'm keep squatting down. But that's one of the things that I want to talk to you about, that we build that into NextTribe in our travel. Travel has become a really big thing for us. Let's see if we have the next one. We have been doing trips. I don't know if you know that. We have a lot of people here who've been on trips with us, right? There's Betsy, there's Cathie, there's lots of Olga. Lots of people here have been on trips with us, and on these trips, my job is to make sure you have fun. That's what I tell people at the very beginning. That's just what I do. It's just people have fun, and I promise that we do. So here's one of us in San Miguel de Allende. And we go there every year. I used to live in San Miguel de Allende. We go there over Dias de los Muertos, and we get our faces painted. We have a raucous good time, but we also explore the culture. We also make altars to those who we've loved, who have passed. So there's very many layers to it. But fun is a big thing. And I started with this trip to San Miguel because I lived there. And I thought, well, this is something NextTribe can do. We can take people places. I used to be a travel writer. I arranged trips for my family. We homeschooled our kids. We took them to 14 countries, and I arranged all the trips. So I kept thinking, well, I could do this. I love to travel. I can put a trip together. So I started with San Miguel, and now we offer it every year. It is one of our most popular trips. And but as far as fun and friendship, this slide from Charleston. This was from last March. I mean not last month. Last month. Meaning these women. We were only together for 3 days, and people didn't know each other beforehand. But look at those faces. That is like we came together. You can't fake that kind of joy and liberation. And that's what I love to see on these trips is women having fun again, connecting. And I hope in your little gift bags you'll have information about our trips. We've got all kinds of great trips coming up. I'd love to see you on one. And we get women from all over the country on these trips. We have, on this trip, this is from also last month. This was in Troncones, which is my favorite beach in the world, in Mexico. And we happen to have 5 great New Yorkers on that trip, and 4 of them are here tonight. Leslie Dorman, stand up, girl. Laura Ross, who's celebrating, but there she is, there's Laura. Barbara Lippert, where are you, sweet Barbara? Woohoo! Kim Seiler, my sweet friend, there she is. She's my co-director on that trip, and she's also our yoga teacher. So, and then Jenny Allen, who couldn't be here tonight, but wow, fabulous trip. We're doing it. It's so fabulous. People have already started booking for next year, and I've decided to expand and give you 2 different options for trips. So please look for that in your gift bag, and we have all of our trips listed. I think we're also, for everything from hiking to Machu Picchu. And Christine Foley, where are you? She's going to Machu Picchu with us, and she is too. And we're adding an insider Austin, because who knows Austin like we do? This is where I just came from. We're also we're looking at Sonoma, we're looking at adding a trip to Umbria in Italy. So there's just so many possibilities for expanding your horizons and your friendships, and you'll read more about that when you get that goodie bag. As I said, you never know who you're going to meet on these trips. And last December, we did our first trip to Big Bend, and in West Texas, Big Bend and Marfa, the art center. And I looked at one of the people who'd signed up, and it was Cathie Black. I was like, oh my God. I was so nervous. That Cathie Black was going to be on this trip. I didn't need to be nervous at all. Cathie is such an easygoing, fun traveler. We had such a great time. Everybody on that trip became good friends. And she's a good friend, and she let me talk her into speaking here tonight. But I want to tell you a little bit about Cathie. For those of you who don't know, most of you know her. Wait, let me see her. Whoop, whoop. Hold on a second. So for those who don't know, Cathie was president and then chairman of Hearst Magazines for 15 years. She oversaw numerous titles, including Cosmo, Esquire, Good Housekeeping, the Oprah Magazine, Town and Country, on and on and on. She was named to Fortune Magazine's list of the most powerful women in business for 11 consecutive years, and on Forbes' Power list for many years as well. Her best-selling book, Basic Black, The Essential Guide for Getting Ahead at Work and Life, has been translated into 12 languages. She's now investing in new companies and helping businesses like NextTribe by serving on their boards. Thank you. Please welcome Cathie Black.
What is not to love about Jeannie Ralston? Well, actually, it's a twofer, because we have another Jeannie as well, Jeannie Edmonds. But when I first met Jeannie Ralston, I don't even know how it happened, but on my computer, a promo comes across for NextTribe. Never had heard of NextTribe, but it said Marfa trip. Now, I can't actually explain why I wanted to go to Marfa, but I'd read an article about it in, Vogue or Harper's Bazaar or something like that, and it just sounded incredibly cool. So I talked to Jeannie. She said, we only take like 10 people. So I said, all right, I'm going to reserve 2 spots. So I took one. I conned another girlfriend of mine from Washington, D.C., who is, in fact, a serious artist. And then my brother-in-law's girlfriend from San Francisco. I knew she would be great. And then to that group added 6 amazing nurses from Birmingham, Alabama, and somewhere else, and also the head of anesthesiology at the University of Michigan. Now, did magazine people have much in common with nurses? Well, actually, as we age, yeah, the answer is a whole lot more. And they were so much fun. We would do different things during the day. The trip was fantastic, very well organized. And so it was a thrill. I will say that. It was really, really a thrill. So, Jeannie told you a little bit about background. And I actually have presents for 6 people here tonight. So I'm going to talk briefly about 2 things. Number one, why did I even think about writing a book? I've spent my entire career in magazine publishing, which I loved almost every single day. And I think back on that, and I thought, I've been given a million speeches over my career and all of those wonderful things. But I thought, what can I give back to women? And so I wrote a book called Basic Black, The Essential Guide to Getting Ahead at Work and in Life. And even if you're not 22, you must know someone who is somewhere in the early parts of their career, or even when you want to reflect back on your own career if you have had one, or only if you want some really sage advice. I've made mistakes like everybody else has. I've made sure that I had new goals ahead all the time. And so I spent my very formative years as, I was telling someone earlier today, selling little itty-bitty ads at the back of Holiday magazine. It was a big deal to get a half-a-page ad as opposed to a 2-inch ad. But I loved the chance to talk to strangers on the telephone because I never went to see anybody. And I still remember the names of some of those resorts around the United States that have been in business forever. And I loved it. But then someone said to me, you know, you should be at New York Magazine. And it was just brand new. I got out of college in '66, so do the math. Yes, Carol, I too will turn 78 next week. I'm a Taurus. And I thought, well, I don't know anybody at New York Magazine. And they said, no, you should be at New York Magazine. So then I kind of looked around and smelled around and found some people. And I started as a little baby salesperson there. And then my life changed a lot. Gloria Steinem was one of the writers, very keen, a very crucial, important, early day writer, really founder of New York Magazine, or helpful founder with Clay Felker. But when she began to talk about where the women's movement was all about, I began to change my thinking a lot. And one of the things that Gloria did, of course, was to launch Ms. Magazine. So for the better part of 4 or 5 months, Gloria was working on the magazine, and the sales staff of New York Magazine, and Gloria was a freelance, was a contracted writer for the magazine and really almost a co-founder. They were working on Ms. Magazine. Now, we were not involved on the editorial side, but we were in fact trying to sell ads for Ms. Well, I've had a lot of great jobs, and it was an enormous, such a life-changing experience for me to try to convince corporate executives across this country in ad agencies that would line up down the hall, leaning out of their offices to see what the freaks and weirdos from Ms. Magazine looked like. I'm not kidding. They would be like, oh, she looks all right. You know, we would get dressed up in our little, go to Success outfits. In fact, the editors would make fun of us because it was a really crappy small office on Lexington Avenue and 42nd Street. And they'd like, oh, you've got a big appointment today. We can tell. And we would have our makeup done, our hair done. They were still in blue jeans and, everything else. But it was an incredible experience for me personally because it made me think, what really is happening to women across this country? What do we want? What can we get? God knows we weren't asking for all that much, to be honest. We were underpaid, overworked, but the golden rod, if you will, we could see it. We could know what would happen. But I remember one day sitting in an ad guy's office, and behind him was a picture, a typical family picture. Even if they were out friggin' around at night, they always had their wife in the picture and the kids in their office. We knew more. But there were 5 girls in that picture. And you could see this look on his face, which was like, why did I even get this meeting? I'm going to kill someone who set it up. I mean, the look was it was both anger, shock, fright. Like, are they going to start taking our jobs? And so we said, and Gloria didn't go on all of the calls with us, but she did go on some of the big ones. But I remember saying to this guy, you may not understand what the mission of this magazine is all about. But when I look behind you and see the picture of your 5 lovely teenage and younger daughters, I'm not asking about your wife leaving you to go to work, but I am thinking that those 5 young women should have an opportunity equal to the men like you and other men that they will compete with for those very same positions. He was like a blubbering idiot. Oh, thank you very much for coming. And, months and months later, we got the ads, of course, because we were very persistent. But it changed my thinking about who am I, because I had not put myself into the intellectual hardness of what it was going to mean, and to be for women to really get an equal playing ground. And we haven't always gotten it, but we began to break barriers down. But I can remember sitting on a plane one time, coming back from some big function in Detroit. Detroit was a very important market to any magazine to get the automotive ads. And so we were going to Detroit, and this guy was talking about there were women on the ad sales staff at Time magazine, and like, well, could they really like travel? I looked at him like, well, what am I doing sitting on your airplane? I can travel. I have a husband. I have 2 little kids. Like, it's not such a big deal. And he just couldn't get it. I mean, those were the kinds of things that we saw all the time. But what I knew was that we would never stop. It's like you opened up the barn door, and we were going to go for it. And it was an extraordinary experience for me. And then I had an opportunity to join the early stages of USA Today. I was recruited to come down to Washington, and it was an extraordinary experience. I loved almost every second of it. It was a killer. I mean, it was a daily newspaper, 5 days a week. But not unlike Ms., but for very different reasons. We had to compete in the New York newspaper marketplace. And most people want to say, like, USA Today, what's that 4-color piece of junk all about? You know, what we knew was that we laughed about it and said, like, guys get on the train in Darien, and they've got their little leather briefcase, and they're holding, of course, the Wall Street Journal, but USA Today is inside that. We knew that. We heard it all the time, and they'd be like, you know, brown bagging it, like looking at USA Today. But we hired a guy by the name of George Lois, and if you're in advertising, you would know the name, and he was a brilliant guy. He was kind of crazy. And we had Y&R, Young and Rubicam, doing the ad campaign, which I inherited. And I've said to the chairman of the company, I said, these are the wrong ads. Honestly, they're like, we need to like do something breakthrough. And George and I happened to be having lunch, and I said, why don't you do like an ad campaign for USA Today? And he said, I love USA Today. And he came up with this brilliant thing. And it was wonderful. But then I was recruited to Hearst, and which I had a great 7-year run at USA Today. I moved on. I came back to New York, and the chairman of the Hearst Corporation said to me, well, would you ever move back to New York? I said, well, you know, Frank, always for the right job. So I became president of the magazine division, and during that period of all the things that we felt great about, and we had, you know, I kind of turned the company around, or at least the division around, you know, all the guys were in all the top jobs, to include the ad director, who said to me on my first day, he was kind of an older guy in the ad business at magazines, and he said to me, I just want you to know something. Last night I had dinner with Al Newharth, who was the chairman of Gannett and the founder of the newspaper, and he said, I don't have to report to you. As I was about to walk into a room of 80 reporters. What do? You keep a big smile on your face and think, I'm going to kill the fucker. And it took a little bit of time, but by this time there's a new ad guy that had also joined us, and I said, Ray, I can't tolerate Joe doing his thing, and I'm doing my thing. I'm calling people in my office. And so he said, I set up a dinner with Al Newharth and another guy, and Ray and I joined, and I said, you know, Al, that this is not working. Now, I think probably if I'd been a guy, I would have gone at it faster, but as an outsider in the newspaper industry, and I was, I felt I had to sort of get my ducks in a row. So we had dinner, and this other guy and he by this time was running another small division. It was a insert in Sunday newspapers for the Gannett newspapers. And he said, I'll take Joe, which would allow Al Newharth to save face, which was very important to Al Newharth. Now, he didn't know that. We get to dinner, Al, another guy, Ray, and I, and Al said, I know why you're here. And he pulls out of his pocket the press release that he was announcing that Joe Welty would be moving to the newspaper division. I thought, that son of a bitch, how did he know that? I said, that was our plan, Al just sort of smiled. You know, so you get your way a lot of times, not always. But in my time at Hearst, which was 15 fabulous years, I'm going on too much, I'm sorry. Somebody's going to oh, she's going to wrap it up, please. Okay. I'll make this really fast. A lot of people were talking about wanting to do the Oprah Winfrey magazine. And so we huddled at Hearst, and Ellen Levine, who was the fantastic and well-known editor of Good Housekeeping for many, many years, we talked about how we could get to Oprah. And this is before Gayle King was Gayle King like today. And so Ellen and I knew that we would have one shot at Oprah. And we finally got a magazine, I finally got a meeting with her in Chicago. And I'm from Chicago, but that didn't make any difference. We flew the day before because I thought, no way, it's wintertime. Are we going to get stuck on a tarmac because of snow? We will walk to this meeting with Oprah Winfrey if we have to. Now, we actually weren't promised that Oprah would come in, but her PR people were there, and Gayle came in smiling as she always does, because by this time, you know, she sort of was with Oprah in Chicago. And we had decided that the way to pitch Oprah would be to have covers of the magazine, because she was a very visual person. She was not necessarily, she was always a reader, but not necessarily a magazine person. So we presented covers of the magazine to include a couple that had her name on it, her picture on it, photograph on it. And we had a fantastic meeting. She was nodding, and we're like, we think we're making some progress here. And we also heard that Condé Nast was pitching her, which was making us boil. But we knew we had some other things in mind. And so at the end of the meeting, which was really about 2 hours, she said, well, I'll tell you one thing. I have to pray on this. Now, I spent 16 years in Catholic education, but I did not want to pray on it. I had no interest in praying on it, but maybe I should have faster. So she said, but I will give it a lot of thought. And so then we had to deal with her lawyer and all of this stuff, so we launched the magazine. And Oprah was a gift from God for all of us. And as you well know, what she has done on this in the world, really in the world. So there's always a time when things have to end, including me right now. But I finished my time at Hearst, which I loved, but I thought it's time for me to do something again with women. And so I've spent the better part of the last 8 years doing a lot of small investing, but experience with women and startups. And it's been fantastic, and I've enjoyed it. I think there's a time, which was hard, to kind of step out of the corporate life, which I did after many, many years. It's very different, but I've loved the sort of the meatiness of helping women, not only women, but mostly women, with their early businesses. Have any of them been gigantic successes? Not really. But that's okay, because it gave me sort of, for another chapter in my life, to be excited, to be enthusiastic, to be learning, and to be with young people. So that's my story, and I'll stick with it. So, 3 of you, if you reach underneath your chair, not your seat, your chair, will get a copy of Basic Black, which you can give to yourself as a present or somebody that you know. And since a lot of this meeting, did we find any? 3 people have it. Some sticker, I don't know. I didn't actually. A sticker. You got it.
I can't believe this.
Well, Karen's you've been thinking for is she ever going to shut up so that I get a chance to talk?
And you're going to
If you
sign it.
found gum, that's okay too.
Okay, and as a bonus, there are 3 copies of this book, which is written by my former colleague, Michael Clinton. ROAR stands for, hold on. ROAR. Reimagine yourself, own who you are, on what's for you, and also assess your relationships. This is a book about turning 50 for the next half of your life. There is great financial information in here, but it's all done in brilliant writing and really great thinking from 40 people who have reassessed their life around the age of 50. So.
You've got to do it. We'll figure this out. If you have a sticker, see Cathie. We'll have him out here. So we're gonna work this out. So here's the official photo of Cathie, but I want to show you a couple other pictures of Cathie. This is Cathie Black, explorer of the Southwest. Yay. There she is. We're on a horseback ride. This is, instead of the suit and this, the powerful woman she is, here she is how we saw her as our fun companion through this adventure last December. On the horse, we rode horses we crossed the Rio Grande in a rowboat and rode horses to a little Mexican village for lunch. Had to have our passports and everything. And then here we got to go to a private ranch and look at this incredible collection of pictographs. And it was a great trip on so many levels. One of those levels might have included a man, but you just never know who you're going to meet on these events. You never know who you'll meet on these trips, that's what I'm saying. So I want to talk about how you guys are aging boldly. These are some friends of mine in Austin jumping into Barton Springs. Has anybody jumped into Barton Springs? Cold as friggin' crap. As I said, if you guys put your little notes up, and these people here are going to win, what you're going to win is some begonias. I hope that doesn't seem like a booby prize, but anyway, we have all these beautiful begonias. We selected one of your comments, and you get to take one home, and then we will draw one of these names to win the real prize, which is the whole line of products from one of our sponsors, Hair Biology. Did you get to see them? They were there. They have great products. Let me read officially what they are about. Hair Biology is a brand of hair care products created specifically for women 50 plus to address the changes that happen to our hair as we age. Hair gets thinner, drier, grayer, and its texture gets wonkier. Hair Biology's products help balance those biological changes so you can wear your hair however you want to look and feel your most beautiful self. We're so happy. Can you realize how many people, how many companies are starting, and they're just catering specifically to us? We have people from Care Beauty here today who are in that, and they're giving gifts to the speakers. So make sure I give you your gifts before you leave. They have put together little gift bags. So here we go with the reading of this thing. Okay, and listen, if I read your thing, stand up. I want you to own this, right? You got to own it. You got to own this. Producing Broadway shows, Robin Gorman Newman. Stand up, Robin Gorman. Embracing into my 50s, new and accepting this new excitement. I'm ready. Raspberry. Oh my gosh. Is that really, that's your last name? I love it. I love it. It's fabulous. Living my best life and discovering my old hobbies, travel and music. Nancy Dunn? Nancy! I'm aging boldly by being fully and totally in love with my sexy size 12 body and building the next chapter. Nancy Gadecki. Oh, and Nancy was on the Big Bend trip too. I forgot to say that. I immerse my body in ice water 3 times weekly. Okay, somebody did not put their name on that. What? Why? We want to know who that is. This one's laughing. We need to do a story about that. Does that? Well, look at you. It must help a lot. I'm aging boldly by not seeing aging as a deficit. It is fun and awesome. Sally Edelstein. Where's Sally? Yes, Sally. I'm aging boldly by jumping right into the fire. Dating apps. Somebody did put that name. I swear that wasn't me. I didn't write this. Okay, does anybody want to claim it? Oh gosh, I'm aging boldly by leaving my husband. I swear I didn't write that one. That one by McKenna. McKenna, where are you, McKenna? Oh. We have lots to talk about. We have lots to talk about. I'm aging boldly by uprooting my entire life, moving back to New York City. I swear I didn't write this one either. And starting my passion job. Kathleen Reagan. Me too. Are we twins? I don't know. Okay, so Jeannie Edmonds. Oh, you need to meet Jeannie Edmonds. She's our Chief Operating Officer. Another Jeannie.
She said pull one of these and give it away. Pull one of these cards and give away a bottle of
Okay. What?
do that too.
Okay, we'll do that. So this is the. Oh, she didn't put the name on that. Oh, embracing raspberry. That's you. You won the hair. A whole line of hair. A full line of the hair products. Make note.
And here's the Barrel Smith cocktail.
And here's the Barrel Smith cocktail one. Celeste Lee. Celeste. You won the whole thing of collection of Barrel Smith. That was Barrel Smith is another one of our sponsors. Sorry, I didn't introduce. I went to high school with the woman who started Barrel Smith, and she lives in Connecticut. We went to high school together in Tennessee. So how wonderful is that to have that connection? And I also another one of our sponsors. Olga, please stand up. Olga did the food. She's part of Zen Events in Connecticut. You can find her through her Airbnb Zen House up in Stamford, Connecticut. But she is also trained chef. Was that beautiful food or what? So thank you, Olga. Okay. One more thing. Oh, another sponsor. We've got so many beautiful sponsors. Where's Elise Pettus? Oh, come on up, Elise. I didn't know that we were going to have a small stage, so we're going to do it like this. So Elise is one of our sponsors. She started Untied in 2013, and if you know the website The Knot, it's for couples getting married. Well, Untied is for uncoupling.
The antidote, yes.
The antidote, whether they're doing it consciously like Gwyneth or not. This is where you go. And as a recently divorced woman, I'm all over this. This is right up my alley. I knew Elise
We waited forever for you to join us, Jeannie.
We've been friends before this, but anyway, now I get to have we have extra bonding here. So anyway, I wanted to ask her, because I'm going to be making use of your services, tell me, what is it what can you do for me? Huh?
Well, sweetie, you're actually pretty well set up because you have your tribe. But I do think that a lot of women who go through divorce, especially after long marriages, don't have a lot of unmarried friends anymore, don't have a lot of women who've been through it to consult with, or to even just make them feel sane, less alone, less isolated. I just feel like there's usually so much shame around it. And one of the things I absolutely hate is that we kind of consider divorce to be a failure. But those of you in the room here who are part of NextTribe, the whole idea of a next chapter is one thing that I just, like, my heart just sort of completely expanded when I learned about NextTribe, because I just feel as if we have, whether we want to divorce, whether we choose divorce, or whether it's foisted upon us, I feel like it's so far from failure. It demands so much courage of us, and it demands courage that we sort of face our past decisions frankly. It demands courage that we kind of step into our next chapter as our sole agents, and I feel like that courage is usually rewarded. And so the spirit of NextTribe is so akin to sort of where I live, with this idea of divorce and kind of going through it, connecting with other women who've been through it. Basically, I think I was in journalism like you, and even though I felt like I was such a blabbermouth, when it came to hiring an attorney, I was afraid to ask her all the questions I had because I didn't want her to think I was dumb. And I thought, wow, if I'm going through that, so many other women must go through that too. And I just thought, well, maybe we could just gather together, use my journalism background and find the best of the best and have them step up on a stage, virtual or in real life, and have us tell us the scoop. Right. And we can ask questions and they'll answer it. And so we do that on every topic, from law to finance to dating to co-parenting to retirement, and you name it. And it's created a kind of a next tribe for a lot of women who have navigated that path.
I love that it's called the Thinking Woman's Divorce Resource, right? Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, did I get it right?
The idea, yes, is that we're going through it very kind of consciously,
Right,
you know?
right.
We're looking at our lives and what we've got left of it, and we want to make the best of it, whether it's kind of discovering our old hobbies, passions, changing our work life up. Just make it count.
Make it count.
That's the idea.
And is this just for people in New York or all across the country?
Nope, we started in New York, but especially since the pandemic, we have, most of our members are actually far and wide.
Oh, good. So, because
Yes.
I did go to something you did with Jenny Douglas.
Who's here?
Yep, Jenny.
Yep.
And yes, and that was from people, it's a virtual event.
Yeah.
So, and where can people find you?
Untied.net.
Okay.
That's all you got to know. And we've got a mailing list, a sign-up sheet if you want to find us, and we've got little brochures out there.
Thank you.
Congrats.
So the woman who said she's leaving her husband, wait, you need to talk to her, right? Hello. Okay, we're to our final speaker. This is one funny woman. I've talked to her on the phone, and she was making me want to pee in my pants.
Well, it happens at our age.
It does happen, but I wore a jumpsuit. Do you know how hard these are to do?
Gorgeous.
Thank you. Anyway, so let me tell you about Maureen Langan, because she's an amazing, funny woman with a very interesting background. She is an award-winning broadcast journalist, radio talk show host, and stand-up comedian. She was a documentary producer at PBS before helping to launch Bloomberg Radio and Television. Then the comedy gods came a-calling. As a comedian, Maureen has been featured at festivals in Canada, Europe, and South Africa. Her TED Talk, The Business of Funny, was inspired by her experiences performing in Johannesburg. Her solo show, Daughter of a Garbage Man, is the story of growing up with a working-class father from the South Bronx and mother from Ireland. It ran for over a year in San Francisco, where it was hailed as a one-woman tour de force. I love that. The show also has been staged in Florida, Nantucket, New York, and Edinburgh, Scotland. This summer she heads back to Edinburgh. Lucky you. With her comedy show called Don't Make Me Hate You. I can't wait to hear what that's about, which was just released on drybarcomedy.com. Check out her podcast, Hangin' with Langan, where she interviews academics and alcoholics and everything in between. Give it up for Maureen.
Oh my! Hi! Thanks for having me. What a good-looking group of people. I mean, overall, one or two I was like, but that's all right. We don't have to judge. It's good to see all of you. That's all that matters. You're here. Jeannie Edmonds, this woman, Jeannie, who's the CFO, CEO, a lot of letters. This woman at the side of the streets in Manhattan, who makes it better for beef, the Irish or the Jews? You have to be a lot more state. So, Mike was very good to me, and I'll always be grateful to having worked for him. They bring in a new person to oversee programming. And he was an important man, and I know he was important because he wore a suit and he paced a lot. He paced an awful lot, so I knew he was important. And he comes over to me, we have an open bullpen, that's where we work. But on my wall was a light over to me. So Mike says to me, Maureen, because that's my name, he said, I don't want you to leave. You know, I know things are different because I don't know, I'm just going a different route, but you have a job here for life. I said, yeah, but Mike, I need a career. So I left, and when I got into the comedy world, I have to tell you, I was so taken aback by the ageism and the sexism. I really was, because there's no human resources. Are you kidding me? I can't even tell you the time. I forget. So I created a television pilot with a good friend of mine, who, you know, Jeannie, it was called Mogos, a television producer who's done a lot of stuff. But what are we going to tell the networks about your age? Right to my face. I double dog swear, George Hilton and a sweet song. So anyway, I said, oh, okay, well, why don't you tell them I am the most haggard 18-year-old or the hottest 90-year-old you've ever met? Or better yet, why don't you tell them I'm an overweight, middle-aged, white guy touring the country trying to find 50-pound hamburgers to guzzle down through my sweat? I bet that'll sell. Because I'm doing 5 road shows right now with things like humor. So what I do with my humor is I see what's going on out there and I flip it. So sometimes people think I'm being self-deprecating, and I am a bit, it's an Irish thing, but also I'm holding up a mirror to the ridiculousness of things that people say to me and the things I witness out there just by being a woman. So, you know, somebody's like, well, what's your age? What's the range? This is the range. This is it. Post-period, pre-death. This is the range. Some women want to be cougars. So I don't want to be a cougar. My friend Carol says, well, Maureen, dating a 30-year-old makes me feel so young. And I go, right, but it makes you look so old. If you want to look and feel young, you should have dated Larry King. That's what you should have dated. You're really hot next to Larry King. And you know what I mean? As you get the dead guy, understand? I don't want to be a cougar. I don't. I don't need some young hot guy named Shad coming up to me, touches my belly fat, going, ooh, what's this? Ooh, what is this? This is pain and rage. Covered by affordable treats and wine from Trader Joe's. That's what we got going here. Not sugar. So they don't have as much sugar as Oreos and a little bit more of the filling hard sugar. So I don't want to be a cougar. You know, though, it's just interesting to see the assumptions. We're talking about that, assumptions that people make about you. There is a Caroline of Caroline's on Broadway. She's very supportive of other women. I'm very grateful to her. She calls me up and she says, Maureen, I'm hosting a special event. 5 women on the bill, and I would like you to be one of them. I said, golly, goodness me, I would love that. And she says, well, the client has one caveat. You have to talk about menopause. But as a comic, you can talk about anything. I think you can talk about, I talk about menopause, you get to the age, they don't twitch, they don't look, they don't open the door. But I don't talk about menopause. I don't have symptoms. And then she said, but Maureen, and she told me how much it paid, and I went, oh my God, I just had a hot flash. I stopped sweating. I'm sweating profusely a lot. I'm sweating on how much, but I will sweat as long as my mind keeps going. So I go to the Bloomingdale's because I want to get the makeup, and I head over to the MAC makeup counter, just a little bit of the head makeup, and the young hopeful Judy thing looks at me aghast. She's like, we have things for your irritated skin. I go, yeah, that's not what's irritating me right now. Well, your skin is mature, like it's mature, as if it's contagious. Which it is, she'll catch it in 20 years. You have to have a mature skin counter. We have one over there, like way over there, oxymoron in you? But my doctor says to me, at your age, I love when people go, at your age. At your age, you may need them. I said, I may need them. Why am I in adult dependent dignity treatments? She said, because at your age, you could get sudden bladder leakage. And I said, when? And she said, suddenly. No one will notice because they'll be too focused on my freaky frozen face. That's what I have plans. And I've got a few more things to say. I time myself because I'm very respectful. I really hate people. No, I don't hate people. This is just an aside. I really don't hate people. This is not has nothing to do with the theme. But you don't want to hate people they make you hate them. Like I start off loving everyone. That's what I'm about. You feel the vulnerability. But sometimes I'm a daffodil. But I was on the plane coming here. I was in California, and this woman in the seat behind me, she gets up and she starts spritzing cinnamon. I get through it. I didn't write it. The only thing worse would be Julia. She's spritzing cinnamon. I go, lady, what are you doing? She goes, well, it's natural. I go, well, so is my vagina, but I'm shoving it in your face. That's an aside. Let's get back to focusing on empowering things. So, because it doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter how old or ugly a man is, as long as he is famous or wealthy, he's going to get sex and opportunity to the day he dies. That's the way it is. Will Smith, he's 53 years old. The Oscars just banned him for 10 years because that's how confident they are he'll have a career.
Yeah.
That's right? Right. Jennifer Lawrence, if she slapped somebody, she would have been what? Put on the guys for a week and a half because she knows their expiration date is coming up. Do you know what I'm saying? But well, she's going to be done in 2 weeks anyway, so we'll just keep. Right, so, doesn't matter how old or wee man is famous, wealthy, he's going to get whatever he wants to the day he dies. I didn't make this up. I learned this decades ago from Anna Nicole Smith, my spiritual advisor. Remember Anna was married to an octogenarian in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
He hadn't walked since Watergate. Do you understand? And he got hurt. He couldn't breathe on his. Anyway, my point is Stephen Hawking. Stephen Hawking, God rest his soul. You can hear my Irish on the way ahead. You have to bring that man into your chat. Stephen Hawking could not move from his head to his toes, right? That's why he left his wife for another woman. The man couldn't move, and he left his wife. Men who can't move are leaving women. Moving and leaving are action verbs. You have to be able to move in order to leave. So that's not my point. Let's get back to the death field. I would say this though, before I leave the stage, I do want to get a little just like turn to all of you and get like some really great energy in a 5-second video of all of us being together. So we'll do that in a minute. Very busy. So I wanted to bring up something that I think is really important, and it's not a joke. To me, it's very poignant. I was coming back from Italy on my honeymoon in 2003, and I was reading a book by an author I had never heard of before. Her name, Carolyn Heilbrunn. Carolyn Heilbrunn was a professor at Columbia University, the first woman to gain tenure in the English department. She was a feminist writer, and I'm reading her book called Writing a Woman's Life, and I'm finding it fascinating. It's about, in it she talks about no matter what the work is, it seems to be so disproportionately skewed toward what society thinks a woman should be. Whether it's a man writing the book, whether it's a woman writing the book, we filter it as if that's what a woman is. And she said, we have to be more, I'm paraphrasing, but this is what I took away from it. We have to be more truthful, more fierce, write our stories, write women's stories. And I thought that this was resonating for me, and I thought, I bet she speaks at the 92nd Street Y, and I'm going to go see her. Park to the National Arts Club and speaks. I was so excited. So I put the book down to take rest, and I pick up the Herald Tribune, which is now defunct, and I see, I never heard this woman, Carolyn Hilborn, okay? I pick up the Tribune, and in it says, author Carolyn Hilborn dead at 77, suicide. And I went, oh my God. First, I'm reading her, and I read the obituary, and in it her son says, his mother was not mentally ill, she was not physically ill. She had decided a decade prior, and she had written about it, that when she felt that she was no longer valuable or had anything to offer, she was going to empower herself to leave. And I, at that time, was 4 years younger than she. And I thought, I'm just getting to know you. Like, I don't even know you. I want to know you. I want to learn from you. There's so much you have to offer me. And I know, as a performer who performs across the country and internationally, we resonate beyond the people of our age and our gender. We resonate. I will get the senior citizen guy who enjoys it. Because let me tell you something. People came through Woodstock and through the 60s. They're the coolest generation that anything's come since. So when you call an older person cute, I want to beat the crap out of you. So I will get a woman with young children saying, she can connect. A gal in college, and I love your message. There'll be a 30-year-old boy named Chad coming up to me saying, I know you don't like cougars, but I'm a lot older than I look. So we have to connect. But when I saw that she had committed suicide, and that she decided she had nothing of value to share with us anymore, that's not the end of our stories, my friends. If we're writing a woman's life, that's not the chapter I'm going to end with. Yeah. We have each other, and we know each other now, but there are so many people out there who don't know us. Yeah. And we may never meet them, but the impact we have on them will always live. So don't forget that. And don't forget, I struggle just like everybody else. I have days that I go, it hurts. But we know there are people out there we're connected with. So my message to you is don't fucking kill yourself. Carol Jenkins, part of the Women's Media Center, years ago, she, Gloria Steinem, Jane Fonda, Marta Kaufman was involved, Rosie O'Donnell, they started something called Greenstone Media. It was a 24-hour women's radio network. And 12 markets picked us up, because it's all men deciding whether you're worthy, like Cathie said, getting an ad, right, or getting the business. It was so wonderful because nobody said whether we had to be conservative, liberal, agree, disagree. It's like get women's voices on because we all are individual, and it was such a wonderful thing. I hope it's something that you would visit. So,
thank you, Tina. Thank you.
Okay, real fast, we're about to time up, but I wanted to talk real quick about our membership. If you are having fun tonight, we are building a New York community. We can keep doing this because why not, right? This is fun. So please consider being a member, and there's all kinds of benefits if you want to. So the next one, I'm not going to go through, except mainly you get priority access to everything, just like boarding the plane first and that kind of thing. But okay. Anyway, the next, and we're gonna build a New York group, and you'll get information in your gift bags with how to join, and it's gonna be fun. The next gathering will be on my rooftop in my new apartment in the East Village. So tonight, as you leave, please get a gift bag. Everyone gets a gift bag, and also. Martha Outlaw from Barrelsmith, she has a bunch of samples. You can choose your favorite, whether it's Negronis or Manhattans, and take one of those with you. And I just say that I hope this isn't goodbye. I hope this is the beginning of a new friendship. So. And there's still cocktails.